chat's got soul. From the gavel to the gas, we're watching it all. Covering the courtroom, big case or small. Laugh when we can, cry when we must, but it's all real talk, you can count on us. We're not the pros, just fans who care. With popcorn in hand and a comfy chair. And every twist, we're right there. Together like we're all in the witness chair. This is the Broken Baker, where the trials come alive, where the chat is wild and the vibes survive. We're watching the worst of what people do, but we keep it light, yeah, that's our truth. It's the only place for crime, and it feels just right. We bring the justice talking to your night. So hit that stream, don't miss the call. At the Broken Baker, we cover it all. Oh yeah. We're just flaming with the view, but we ask the things the world wants to. Digging through the facts, side by side. Even when it's dark, we bring the light. No clickbait, no fake feels, just truth and the highs and the reels. With the chat that roasts and rides, we're just here for the case and the vibes. This is the Broken Baker, where the stories unfold with a smile in the heart, even when it's cold. Yeah, we cover the bad with a wink and a grin. Where the real talk starts, come on, jump in. It's the only place to be, can't you see? For trials and truth, it's BBTV. The Broken Baker, where the trials come alive. Yeah, we'll be here, trial of the trial. Yeah.
What? Well, see ya. What? No, wasn't it supposed to be normal time? Everyone else is set up to stream right now. So let's give it a shot and see if they go live. I haven't checked my court record because I don't do that. Marissa does that for me, and then she yells at me. But good morning, one and all, and good morning, Brandon. Finally, some daytime content. I had daytime content yesterday, the day before. Maybe I didn't have some on Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So I just expanded and also done nighttime content because some of my lovely audience live in states that doesn't go to bed when old man Brandon, well, it's 5 p.m. Oh, honey, can you put on Matlock and give me the comfy blanket? But no. And thank you all for I did it late last night. It was 12 o'clock Eastern because I slept in because I was really mad after yesterday. Recap what's happening today, please. I'm lost. Today I streamed at 6 a.m. for an hour. Then I played Tropico 6. Then I went to the gym. Then I had some coffee. Then I had my lunch. Then I chit-chatted a bit with the mods on Discord. Then I went to lay down and take a bit of a nap. Didn't fall asleep because I have had all of these stuttering problems with my StreamYard, so I've been looking at alternative things to use, but can't really figure out if it's worth changing. And now I'm here. That's what's happening today. But welcome, Mattia Braga. I don't know what's happening. Well, as long as you are here now and again, we are happy to see you. Yes, this morning I told you all why Star Wars is a movie that you shouldn't watch if you're a democratic-minded person, because it glorifies rebellions. And I told you how Harry Potter is a series about nepotism and favorism. So, as always, come to a Baker show, stay for the entertaining facts that you didn't know you knew. And Rose is still the biggest villain in movie history. And some can't see. Well, I'm here for all of you. Well, daily docket listed as 2 p.m. Well, that was dumb of me. Oh, someone called me a Nazi defender. I really don't like being called that. I did yell a lot on Twitch, and the cunt blocked me, so I got cunt blocked. And I then had to tell them that they're really stupid. Apparently, there are two conferences today. What happened to Stacy? What did I miss? Stacy. What happened? I don't know. I can't find it. Stacy. What did I miss? Everyone is saying feel better, and now I feel bad that I didn't see it. I can't see it. Maybe she blocked me. Stacy. I can't see Stacy anywhere. Oh, there. I almost made it on the channel today. I got pewed on. What the hell? What the hell? Well, I'll promise you I'll cover the trial if you go back and unalive him. Yeah, those dastardly kids. Good morning, Rolling Stone. Yeah, but she had it set for 9 o'clock earlier today. Woohoo! Welcome to memberhood. Well, it was because I said, as you all know, Aiden got into a beef with a channel. That channel started, and I respect that. As a certified grifter, I respect that he started grifting off of his online beef. That is what you always should do. If there's money to be made, always make the money. That is the grifting creed. And me and Brother Council are the two only certified grifters in the world. But he started grifting this and way overstating what Aiden said. And then all the antis, because they don't have anything better to do in their life, of course, jumped on it and started claiming that Aiden was anti-Semitic. And I said, there's nothing in his statement that's anti-Semitic. And someone called me, oh, Nazi defender. I have spent a lot of my time in politics trying to keep those people away from any influence. I actually made a demonstration against them and left-wing violence as well back in the day. I had family who were in the resistance movement back in the day in Denmark who helped both British airmen and helped not directly but gave materials, some horses, some stuff like that could ensure that some Jews could be moved so they could be transported to Sweden. And my dad always got really mad if anyone drew a swastika or something like that, because he grew up during the First World War. So calling me a Nazi sympathizer or defender really hits me below the belt. Thank you, Holly Mac, for gifting 5 memberships to. Maybe I should open up my studio so I could see that. Pebbles Love, Late But Present, Kitchen Knife Rescue, Nicole, and Matsirapaga, our own. You're Portuguese, right? I think Matsirapaga is Portuguese. But thank you so much, Holly Mac. You are my favorite. What is he calls it? Nutbag. Yeah, wasn't that what Proctor said he called ladies? That was nice. Exactly, Serenative. And I think, not that I don't think anyone in America doesn't know, but I think most of us who have family who grew up in or around that time probably have a different view on most of those things. Or a bag of nuts, exactly. It doesn't start till 2 o'clock, apparently. So we were all jumping on too soon. But, well, we missed you too, Holly. But you did come in and say, hey, I'm just stopping by. Good night, Australia. Jules, all right. You're up late. But I was thinking about doing something because LTL did share a link to Proctor's internal investigation report. And I thought, interesting. And he says, feel free to read and share at your leisure. But I was thinking I might have a look at that. You might already have seen it. But just so we have something to do. Can I give you the cliff notes? Miles King is accused of pew-pewing another man. Pretty good chance he did it. They had some stupid beef, and he pew-pewed him. But there is Rosemary Scarpiccio, who is his defense attorney, is wanting all the materials turned over because in true Baston fashion, they haven't turned over all the materials they're supposed to do under Rule 14. That's why she have had Lally on the stand already. Proctor was supposed to be there last Tuesday, but because the judge all of a sudden had a conniption, Lally and Proctor didn't testify. But the interesting thing about this, because I think most likely with the evidence that's out there, he probably most likely did it. But it's, did the Boston Norfolk DA's office again F up? That's the most interesting part in the Miles King case. Korea, good night. Oh, Korea. Oh, we don't have many Koreans. Yes, Brian, he had Nan on yesterday to discuss this one. But if you didn't watch it, maybe we could do it. Thank you, the Kimpi, for becoming a member. But yeah, should I make a new? No. Let's just. You didn't have time. Well, for you, Serenative, because you live in the real world and don't have time to watch things at night, we can do it. So if you wanna, let's take a look at the internal report about Michael Proctor and his misgivings. I'll go even smaller so you can follow. This is from Kevin J. Dwyer, who says that he was assigned to investigate the matter. Then this investigation was initiated after a personal investigation was requested by Brian P. Connors, Division of Investigative Service Commander, concerning information received from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office regarding Michael Proctor. Participation in an ongoing criminal investigation. A copy of the request is submitted as Exhibit 1. Sadly, we can't see any of the exhibits. Hey, plushy mom. Oh, I'm just going to change the name of the stream just so people don't think, oh, he has it while everyone else is late. So they'll have to live with the wrong. I can make a new thumbnail later for this one. Thank you, Zach, for leaving. Here's the biggest problem. As long as a judge keeps accepting shite evidence into court, nothing's going to change. No, and he seemed really, the week before, he seemed to be, hey, why the hell haven't you turned over stuff? And then last week, he yelled at Rosemary because the Commonwealth had dropped another bunch of evidence that she didn't know about. And then he yelled at her for not knowing about that evidence, which makes no sense. Hey, Sunshine Shara. Miss Luna. Back to this. The ongoing criminal investigation referenced in the request for investigation is the Karen Reed's case. She was blah, blah, blah. Found primary investigator. Trooper Proctor, who was assigned to SPDU Norfolk at the time, was the primary investigator. I thought he wasn't something big. The Norfolk County District Attorneys advised the department they had been notified by the United States Attorney's Office that there was a federal investigation that involved Trooper Proctor. As part of that investigation, the contents of Trooper Proctor's personal cell phone was obtained. It was discovered that Trooper Proctor sent text messages of a derogatory and defamatory nature about Ms. Reed. The NCDAO did not provide the department with any documentation pertaining to the text messages. The notification was verbal only. The department advised that any member who was informed of these text messages was required to sign a non-disclosure that limited their ability to speak about the content. As a result of the disclosure by the NCDAO, the department subsequently initiated this personnel investigation. On March 4th, 2024, Detective Lieutenant John Goslin of the Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability sent a subject notification letter via department email to Trooper Proctor. Attached to this notification was a copy of the request for investigation generated by Lieutenant Colonel Connors. Major Leonard Coppenracht. They have some weird names. DIS Deputy Division Commander, Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully, Norfolk Unit Commander, and Trooper David N. Stewart, State Police Association of Massachusetts, spam. That's a Monty Python song. Representative was also provided a copy of the subject notification letter on March 19th. An amended subject notification letter was sent to Trooper Proctor. This amendment copy correctly documented who authored the request for investigation letter, which was inaccurate in the first copy sent. Coppenrath, Tully, and Christopher Johnson Spam representative was also provided a copy of this amended subject notification letter. A copy of the email correspondence with Trooper Proctor, along with the first subject notification letter sent, has been submitted as Exhibit 2. Doesn't have that. A copy of the email correspondence with Trooper Proctor, along with the amendment subject notification letter, has been submitted. Number 3, we don't have that. Hey, Plushie. Seemed after the letter from Proctor's attorney that the judge's attitude changed. Yeah, something changed. I don't know. Well, no, you can't hash anything out. No, it's going to be at 2 p.m. instead. Hello, Catnut Williams. Aren't you covering the cutting up the wife case? If you want to follow the Catalyst case, I think is the right name. Catnut Williams is covering that, where someone allegedly unalived his wife while being controlled by Jim, and we still haven't seen Jim, I think. And then he had to put pieces of his wife in 3 different counties, as you do. If you have a big problem, cut it into smaller pieces. It's easier to handle. Yo. Hello, Amber. Cottonwrath. Now I want some cake. Is that a cake? Hey, Andrea, you were first, and now you're coming back in. I am always looking for nudes. Still to this day, no nudes. Oh yeah, you can take all the pot shots as me you want. Don't do it at chat. Who's Jim? Oh, that's the Catalyst case. He claims someone, Jim something, was controlling his life. It's a wonderful story. I need to get her. Maybe I can reach out to her someday and she can come on and talk about the case after. Maybe I can do a stream with you someday and you can come and tell all about Jim, because that case is just, it's local. Copyright and Weisse to do frozen cakes. Oh my. Yeah, the agent, the guy who just called them from the FBI and said they were in danger. Well, back to this one, because one thing I noticed already, this investigation was running before the first trial. So of course, the feds knew that Trooper Proctor was a bad egg, but didn't they wait with the suspension till after the first trial? I don't. I was just thinking. Hey, RJ, you're not innocent, Jim. You know who you did it. In addition to information provided concerning text messages by Trooper Proctor, there was concern raised as a result of the federal investigation that Proctor had personal relationship with witnesses involved in the investigation. An inquiry was conducted by the department to determine if any substantial relationship existed between Proctor and witnesses related to the investigation. An inquiry showed that while Proctor had a relationship with some of the witnesses, those relationship was not substantial in nature. The inquiry found that the relationship was consistent with how Trooper Proctor represented them in the federal investigation. It was also consistent with how Trooper Proctor portrayed them in his testimony in the criminal trial against Miss Reed. The inquiry was conducted independently from this personal investigation and have been memorialized somewhere. It's G.A. Nicholas Casolist. Yeah, that's the name. And he's also Nick Stark, and it's a fascinating trial. That if you want some trial coverage today, go check it out, because we're just reading this. The criminal trial that the Reed matter began on April 29th, the Norfolk County Superior Court. The trial was live streamed on multiple venues. I was one of them. Court TV. Court TV recorded the proceedings and posted the entirety of each day's proceeding on Court TV's YouTube channel. Proctor testified on June 10th and June 12th. There was no testimony on June 11th. No, that was a white claw day. The videos for each day's testimony were saved and downloaded. In addition, a copy of the transcript of Trooper Proctor's testimony was obtained from the Norfolk Superior Court Clerk's office. After reviewing Trooper Proctor's testimony, I created a summary of his relevant testimony as it pertains to any text message communications to include timestamps from the video and corresponding page and line locations. More technical stuff. Stuff doesn't matter. All of it exhibits we don't have. Below is a summary of the relevant testimony given by Trooper Proctor on June 10th and 12th. During the retrial, all times referenced reflect the time on Court TV, not the actual time. Noted next to the times in parentheses is the corresponding page and line from the court transcript. This summary only pertains to testimony concerning text messages, communications that Trooper Proctor sent. It should be noted that there are a few instances where the court transcript does not accurately capture what was testified to or was heard in the video. The text below are what was heard from the video testimony. This is not a summary of any testimony related to the investigation or fact of the case. Hey, dobra dan. I think that's also in Polish. These are just the text we all already know. I don't know if it's necessary to read them because they're going to go into them and discuss them. During Trooper Proctor's testimony, he testified that he drank alcohol and then operated his department-issued cruiser. This occurred when he said he went to Sandwich with Kevin Albert to further an investigation of an unresolved case from Canton. He testified that they then stopped for dinner and had a few beers. After being questioned by defense counsel, he acknowledged that he was in his cruiser for these events, already off to a good start drinking on the job. What time does the hearing start? 2. So it's probably just going to be more of a status. It's not going to be a hearing when it starts at 2. I don't believe so. We are going to get to that, RJ. After being questioned by defense counsel, he acknowledged that he was in his cruiser for this event. Trooper Proctor also acknowledged that this occurred on July 19, 2022. Detective Lieutenant Gosling confirmed that pay station entries showed that Trooper Proctor did work his regular scheduled shift 8:30 to 5 p.m. and also worked overtime from 5 till 10. So he was drinking on overtime. The note on his overtime entry reflects that he was working on an unresolved case from Canton. This same information is also reflected in the SPDU Norfolk Daily Administrative Journal for July 19th. Lieutenant Gosling was also able to confirm through the automatic vehicle locator for Trooper Proctor, assigned cruiser at the time, that Trooper Proctor left his home at 8:28 and ultimately returned at 10:54. These times coincide with the work hours Trooper Proctor submitted as being worked. Multiple attempts were made to contact Kevin Albert. Monsieur Kevin Albert. Those attempts have been unsuccessful. I don't know about you, but and if you wanna, no, that's not the one I wanted. If you want to go and see LTL, who has shared this, talk about the same. He had a panel show on it yesterday. But how in the world can you not get a hold of a police officer? The worst part about drinking on the job is when you then have hangovers on your free time. Well, that's the smart thing. You just keep it rolling till you go back on your job the next day. Then you can sleep all day on your work. But how can you not get a hold of a police officer? Can someone explain to me, Kevin Albert, he works for Canton PD. How hard can it be to call the Canton PD and say, we need Kevin Albert to stop by and do an interview for an investigation that's ongoing? Okay, he'll be there Monday at noon. I really don't understand how the hell can't you get a police officer into an interview? Yeah, if it's been Celestial Force, they would have found her. There would be no attempts. She would be there. What is Swasher? Well, Swasher is well, I'll let Roger explain it.
Okay. Do you remember any description as far as the size of these men?
Yeah, I remember the size of them. I know I could tell by the Swasher who that one was, by meeting him different times up there at Paula's. I knew Swasher is, get that word right, Swasher?
Okay. I don't know what that word means, so I'm sorry.
Oh, his style, his
Oh,
walk, his talk.
okay.
I muted myself as always when I play music, play videos. You call someone's phone and you just call his dispatch and say, "Can you send Kevin Albert up here Monday?" It's not that hard. Yes, the Treehouse murder trial. Yes, I know, Serenity. I figured it out in the end. But thank you. Yes, we checked the schedule. Marissa should have done that to begin with, but laziness apparently is a thing for her. No, it's my mistake as always. But everyone else thought it would be at 9 o'clock because that was what they talked about last week, and then they have moved it to 2. So it's probably not going to be a hearing. It's just going to be, so are you on the same page right now? Thank you anyway. But I don't get how you can't get a whole of a police officer. A copy of Trooper Proctor's pay station entry has been submitted. Exhibits, not important. On July 8th, I sent a subject or a call-in letter via departmental email to Trooper Proctor. Trooper Proctor was directed to attend an interview at General Headquarters in Farmingham on Monday, July 15th. Proctor was transferred to Troop H. I also provided a copy of the subject's call-in letter to Major Timothy J. Curtin, Trooper H. Commander Captain Robert Keeney, Trooper H. Executive Officer, and Sergeant Johnson. A copy from my email correspondence with Trooper Proctor, along with the subject call-in letter I sent, has been submitted. Exhibit we don't have. At the request, he needed a lawyer present. Another exhibit we don't have. And they had a meeting on July 19th, along with Jeremy Sweeney. They interviewed Trooper Proctor. Trooper Proctor was accompanied by Sergeant Johnson. He can't wait till he becomes a major. Attorney Moynihan and Attorney Michael DiStefano. Trooper Proctor was provided with a copy of the Office of Professional Integrity and Accountability Administrative Rights form prior to the interview, which he reviewed and signed. This interview was digitally recorded with the consent of all persons present and later transcribed. A copy of Trooper Proctor's signed administrative rights form has been submitted. Exhibits we don't have. And then the summary starts. Come on. I'm just saying that is the lazy one to... That is the... Albert probably doesn't even check his voicemail. It's perfect for the situation, not getting a statement from him. Well, these are the cops who watches the cops. So they are normally, when you see them in movies, they're hated by everyone because they'll dig deep. But these people were just, he didn't pick up his phone. It'll be fine. Hey, K9. But let's get into the summary. He was assigned as the primary investigator. Remember, Bukaki said, no, we don't have such a thing. For the death of John O'Keefe, as a result of this investigation, criminal charges were filed against Reed. He told investigators that prior to this investigation, he never met Reed or John O'Keefe. During the subsequent criminal trial, Proctor testified about a series of text messages that he sent related to the investigation. He acknowledged to investigators that all the text messages to which he testified were text messages that he did, in fact, send. Trooper Proctor stated that he sent multiple text messages in a group chat to his childhood friends, none of whom are law enforcement officers. One message contained the name of the decedent, John O'Keefe. When he texted this friend group that he saw the decedent, when he texted this friend group that he saw the decedent's body in the hospital and it was banged up, Trooper Proctor told investigators that he was referencing to John O'Keefe having injuries, but that he never specified what those injuries were. Trooper Proctor did acknowledge that he also texted the friend group that Mr. O'Keefe was not beat up from a fight, but was hit by Miss Reed's vehicle. In reference to the intentional or not, Trooper Proctor clarified that he was referencing to whether Miss Reed striking John O'Keefe was intentional. In reference to the text message he sent to the friends group saying they arrived at the house together, got in an argument, she was driving and left. Trooper Proctor confirmed that he was referring to John O'Keefe and Karen Reed, and it was only his opinion that they had an argument. Funny, it has now become canon on the left, on the anti side. He also confirmed to investigators that he was referring to the house where Mr. O'Keefe's body was eventually found, although he never provided the actual address. Proctor explained that the text he sent about serious charges being brought on the girl was his opinion that Miss Reed would face criminal charges based on her actions. He clarified that he is not involved in determining what, if any, charges are brought against an individual, and this text only expressed his opinion, or because he knew exactly what they could talk the DA's office into doing. We have a troll in chat. Oh, that's so lovely. It's been a long time since we have a troll. Oh, it's Sutbo. Oh, how nice. Karen Reed got away with murder because of money and privilege. Hope the civil case gets some justice. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to use words. It can be really hard when your IQ level is smaller than your shoe size. But let me try and explain this to you so you can figure out what happened in the trial. In this trial, and I'm going to visualize it as well. If I can find my visualization pen, I have it here. In this trial, you had a judge. You had a prosecution team and you had a defense team. And behind them, next to them, in the same courtroom were 12 jurors that was selected in combination by these three groups. Not like the idiots believed that, they were planted on the jury because we don't know. But 12 people, first vetted by the judge, then both the prosecution and the defense could strike any they wanted. They then held a court case. The prosecution went first. They had a special needs. Oh no, he wasn't special needs. He was a special assistant district attorney. Sorry. Yeah, well, he seems special needs. The Hematuba. They hired him for $500,000. That's a lot of money. He then went on to present a case based on the evidence they collected. Then Karen Reed, who has her defense team, went on and put on their case. Both sides presented what they wanted. Nothing was kept out. Then these 12 people down here, they are something known as the jurors. They then went into a room where they sat and said, okay, Special Prosecutor Brennan spent 6 weeks talking about what, if any, he believed happened. Then you had a week of the defense going, and they said, okay, we have the charges, second-degree murder, operating while intoxicated, plus lesser included, and then you had leaving the scene of a crime. And all of these 12 people came back and found Karen Reed guilty in operating under the influence. The rest she was found not guilty of. Nowhere in this did anything happen to be with privilege or money, because Hank Brennan spent more money than the defense team. He even bought Judge Welcher, his best friend in the world, a new pair of underwear for $24. With the new Morrissey leaks, we also know that the DA, who is over special needs, Brennan, special assistant attorney, Brennan, he spent a lot of money getting advice from his own former firm. So if you want to talk about money being spent, you have to go to the special prosecutor, who alone cost $500,000, who spent more than $500,000 on experts, plus whatever else Michael Morrissey have wasted of money doing this hack job. In the end, all of this money ended up in 12 people finding Karen Reed guilty of operating under the influence. This is the American justice system. It worked. It lived up to the 5th, the 6th, the 14th Amendment. Karen Reed was found guilty in operating under the influence. She had got 1 year probation, have to take a driving safety course, and that's it. So she didn't get away with murder because she didn't murder anyone, because the jury found her not guilty. Ipso facto, you be idiot. There's nothing in that one. Well, he actually asked for more money. He asked for $1 million extra in his budget because it was a very well-funded defense. A well-funded defense has nothing to do with the amount of money used by the prosecutor, because the prosecutor just have to present the evidence. He must have a strong case. This guy didn't. He even spent $400,000 to have someone say what Trooper Paul did. Yeah, that's the same. We don't know how it happened either. But let the trolls go back under their bridge in Sweden, where they sit and try and steal small lambs. They are not worth our time, other to laugh that so low IQ people could be around us. I'm amazed they can even turn on the internets. But congratulations, you were the dumb of the day. Sue, you're lucky I didn't yell at you today. I yelled at someone else. In reference to the text containing whack job, C word, and weird Fall River accent, he acknowledged that he was referencing Miss Reed. Who else? He recognized that this commentary was juvenile and unprofessional. And then, this is so stupid. And I'll tell you later why it's stupid. But he went on to say that after working death investigations for an extended period of time, you are sometimes exposed to the worst of the worst and seeing certain horrific things that stays with you. I can tell you, in my 14 years as a juror, I have seen way worse in court, both alive and dead. John O'Keefe was a nice body to find. Outside of the injuries to the back of his head, he only had the raccoon eyes, a hematoma on his forehead, and some scratches on his arm. Trust me, you have gone to car accidents that's way worse than that. This is a lame, stupid excuse. If this is enough for him to have to go and lash out in this fashion, he should never have become a cop. As a juror in the Danish system, I have seen a woman beaten so badly that we had a ME, not an ME, the guy who received her at the ER cry in court and testify he have never seen injuries like this to a person where there's not a car involved. Trust me, those pictures will forever be up here. Watching John O'Keefe was nothing. I found a dead veterinarian when I was 7 or 8 years old, and my asshole brother said, "Hey, you go touch him, see if he's dead." And I had to touch him. He was just dead. He had a heart attack. Boom, done. Nothing there. If he's claiming that this was such a horrible, horrible thing that he had to lash out, he should have his badge revoked instantly because he doesn't have the mentality it takes to be a police officer. Imagine when he comes out and find someone who has been hanging in the rope for a couple of days, someone who's got pew-pewed a little bit, someone where a coyote have gotten into them. He felt it was necessary to call her a whack job C word because John O'Keefe's body was there. And again, everyone here has seen the pictures of John O'Keefe's body. It's a nice body if you're going to find something at a crime scene. That wasn't a horrible thing. He didn't come out there. My dad was an EMT. He's been out. We have a train station. People like to jump out in front of that train at some points. He had been out where they used like a pillow casing to put the pieces of that person in. That day, I could understand if he had to go home and had a little dark humor. But finding that, go fuck yourself. Oh, you shouldn't be sorry for me. I chose to do it, so I know it's there. According to the Commonwealth, Proctor never went close to autopsy. Where could have well, it's when he saw him at the hospital. As a medic, I have been on calls that you need a shovel for the body after trauma. Those stick with you. Yeah, but if you come out and find someone who more or less looks, well, you doesn't even see him at the scene. You see him cleaned up in the hospital. You wouldn't even think about it after. I live in Fall River where the majority of population is Portuguese. I knew it was Portuguese. That's the accent, but we have integrity and morals with that, that POS lacks. Well, he's the male face of Irish poverty, probably. About my brother? No, it wasn't my brother who died. No. It was a veterinarian we found, and then my brother, that asshole, said, "Hey, you go over and touch him and see if he's dead." He's 4 years older than me. Why didn't he go over? And I can still tell you how that body felt because I did and I didn't know, I hadn't learned how to take the pulse, but the instant I touched him, I knew he was dead. Stupid asshole. Well, I was one of a few I found. La Posada saw worse at the station nightclub fire victims than he did with John. There was more blood the last time I did the intimate landscaping than he saw John at the hospital. Come on now. It's just a stupid excuse. No, it's absolutely fine. I don't care. As part of a coping mechanism to deal with the exposure, a gallows humor is developed. Yeah, but again, this isn't gallows humor. Trooper Proctor believed that a normal person would not strike someone and leave them lying in the snow, and attributed his feelings partly on gallows humor as the reason for him calling her a whack job C-word. He acknowledged that while these were personal feelings, he should have used professional language. Proctor explained when he referenced to Miss Reed as a nutbag, he was referencing to Miss Reed's appearance. Yes, I did touch a stiff. And then Valhalla said, "I'll love you when you go home too." Let me take someone randomly. Hey, Danny, you nutbag. Ladies, show of hand, how many of you would turn it to moisture clock if a guy called you a nutbag when he described your body or your appearance? How many of you would really think, "Oh my, this works better than," well, that's yeah, it feels weird. I think it became doughy. Doesn't work on M-Spire, Calico, no. Dry, Marissa, Holly, no. Gem Girl might like it. No, no, nope. Nope. Danny will get ready to rumble. Oh my. I'm Italian, say no more. No way. Go to hell. Hard pass. Yeah. Well, I get called fat a lot too. No. Normally described as a nutbag, but not about my looks. Yeah. He's trying to say it's a compliment. Yes. Well, no, no. No. Yeah. Yeah, because his explanation is he was referring to Miss Reed's appearance. He went on to say that amongst his friend group, the term nutbag has a meaning of not bad. In reference to his text thread, Trooper Paul used this term not as a reference to her mental state, but as referring to her physical appearance as not bad. And then we go right into, as it relates to Trooper Proctor's text messages to his friends group about Miss Reed having a leaky balloon nut and leaks poo. Because if there's something you will do, is describe to your friends that she is not bad, and then go right into she leaks poo, and she's all right if you like someone who leaks poo. That is exactly how you would describe it, Trooper Proctor. You were actually telling your friends she was hot. I always say this. Prison is filled with people who can't shut up because their mouth puts them in prison faster than the law does. Are you actually retarded? You describe this woman with a weird Fall River accent and a nutbag who leaks poo, but you want me to believe that the nutbag meant you really wanted to at least try and do half a Higgins on her. This is absolutely ridiculous. And he's telling this to other troopers. Let me try and portray how I think that interview went. So, Trooper Paul, is it true you describe Karen Reed as a nutbag? Yeah, because my friend group called woman hot nutbag. Are you this stupid? Come on now, we're taping this. You can't say stupid stuff like that. I know one loose job. I don't. Me Trooper Proctor. No. You can't handle seeing a nice, unalive person, and you want us to be as dumb as you and believe that nutbag means not bad. I know the young kids today say skippity and whatever they say because, hey, they have a not fully developed brain. But telling someone that she's a nutbag and then saying you really meant she was a hottie, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we say crazy as a bag of nuts in Denmark as well. Proctor puts the poo in Trooper. Yes. He knows the other troopers are as stupid as he is. Sadly. What does nutbag mean? An odd, eccentric, or insane person. Yeah, that's what everyone else would use the nutbag as a description for. Hey, Brett happens. Hey, Brett, you're a nutbag. Wow. Don't tell your husband I said that, because apparently that's how Americans talk to ladies. You nutbag. It's a gift from FD Food Fairy. Well, it's hard to describe, but it was a clean corpse. There was nothing bad with that one. Karen is beautiful. She has a very, very marked face, but that I think that has to do with the stress she was under. But she was a beautiful woman. Nowhere near a nutbag. Reminds me of Kavanaugh. Hey girl, you're such a nutbag. Can I buy you a drink? Pooper Proctor. Jesus, this is worse than I thought. Number of times in my life I've called someone a nutbag and meant it as a compliment. Literally 0. Yeah, that's what a devil's triangle is. Clear. Trooper Proctor explained that while Miss Reed was being processed at the state police barrack, he learned about her medical issues. He stated that the text messages he sent on this topic was unprofessional and he should not have sent them. He also sent messages to this friend group that 0 chance she skated and she's effed. Trooper Proctor expressed that these 2 comments was his opinion and were in reference to his belief that the evidence in this case supported the fact that Miss Reed struck John O'Keefe and that she would be charged appropriately. No, it was because you were trying to pin it on the girl. In reference to text messages that Trooper Proctor sent to his sister, who is not law enforcement, he acknowledged that he told her about frozen to death in Canton but never disclosed the address. Trooper Proctor did acknowledge that at the time he told his sister that he interviewed Jen McCabe. Miss McCabe was a witness in the homicide investigation. He also sent a text to his sister and said, "Don't say a word to anyone." Saying that just makes it look like you're trying to cover something up. Maybe you knew you shouldn't have sent those texts. Hubert Proctor told investigators that Canton had not had a homicide in 20-30 years. So That's why you need to have such a bad humor, because you didn't have any cases like this in 20, 30 years. And the news was spreading quick. He said that the intent behind the text was to keep his sister from spreading info if someone reached out to her. Then don't tell your sister to begin with, you pillock. Trooper Proctor told investigators that he did not believe he was sharing information that he should not share. In a subsequent text message to his sister, Proctor told her that Julie and Chris were with the Mr. O'Keefe and Miss Reed, or were with John and Karen prior to O'Keefe's death. He also told his sister that he would need to interview them. There is already a conflict of interest, because if they're close enough that you can tell your sister, Julie and Chris, you have a way too close relationship that you should ever be interviewing them. It's absolutely fair. Police officers know people as well. Of course they do. But if you are this close that your sister automatically knows who you're talking about when you say Julie and Chris, you should never ever interview them. That is highly, highly, highly improper. I'm almost at work now. Thanks for being here with me this morning, chat. And here's a down payment for my future trial. Thanks, Baker. Spacey, stay safe out there. I know it's just a BB, but the shock is almost as bad as the impact. And they can hurt like hell if you get them on bare skin. But have a great day at work, Stacy. My wife called all of those people shitbags. Yeah. He's just really, really stupid. The worst thing is this apparently thinks this works. Proctor should be fired just for the fact that he tells everyone and anyone everything about his active investigations. He has never heard about the concept of a secret. Yes. This is how they only suspended him. And this had been ongoing since March before the trial. But of course, they are now reacting to what his testimony were in trial, because they probably thought, hopefully the defense won't bring it up and we don't have to get into this. But he should have been fired the day they found out that he texted his friends about investigative matters and his highly biased investigation against Karen Reed. Britt, have a wonderful day. And if you see any ladies, tell them that Baker calls them nutbags. Hey, nutbag. Did it hurt? What? When you fell from heaven because you're an angel? I'm gonna kill you. You called me crazy. No, I didn't. Nutbag is an American way of saying you're lovely. At the time that Trooper Proctor told his sister this information, he acknowledged that Julie and Chris was potential witnesses. In reference to the text exchange he had with his sister about him receiving a gift, Proctor told investigators that his response, "Get Elizabeth one," was a joking response, as he was just acknowledging to his sister that his wife deserved recognition for being home alone with their children. I think she's a stay-at-home mom, so isn't that what she does? He stated that neither he nor his wife ever received or asked for a gift. Well, you kind of implied that you wanted one for your wife. Trooper Proctor stated that he never had any belief that he would ever receive a gift or never pursued receiving a gift. In a later text exchange that Trooper Proctor had with his sister, Trooper Proctor sent, "Hopefully she unalives herself." Proctor described this comment as a poor figure of speech. Hey, nutbag, I hope you self-delete. It's just something you'll say to a lady. I don't know what's wrong with this person. But again, does he think this is actually working? He stated that he had never had any intention or want for Miss Reed to unalive herself. Proctor told investigators about a text he sent his wife said, "We're gonna lock that whack job up." Proctor explained that this text was sent after the grand jury had voted to indict Miss Reed. Proctor acknowledged that this text was sent before Miss Reed was arrested. In a text message to other department members stating, "If you like women who shit themselves," Proctor acknowledged this message was also in reference to Miss Reed's medical condition. In a separate, remember, she's a nutbag who shits herself, because nutbag means a very attractive woman. Are you this retarded? In a separate text thread with fellow department members, including 2 of his supervisors, in response to a photograph of Ms. Reed's attorney, Proctor sent a text about going through his retarded client's phone. I don't think the client is the retarded one in this relationship. Proctor described this comment as a poor joke. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. Going through his retarded client's phone is not a joke. I'm not American, and I know American needs a laugh track on their sitcoms to understand when to laugh. But a joke is a horse walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Why the long face?" That's a joke. Going through his retarded client's phone, there's no punchline. There's no joke in there. You couldn't put that into an episode of Friends, no matter how much you turned up the laugh track, and even get a chuckle out of someone. I really don't understand how badly this idiot tried to fight for his job by saying things that's stupid. Yeah, who's shitting themselves now, Proctor? That's why I think, yeah, well, he was working cases all over the state, apparently. Zach is way better at bat. I would put Zach at 1.5 Proctor, because sometimes I chuckle when he makes a joke. Proctor is an insecure man. He was intimidated by Miss Reed. I bet he liked her a lot, and she didn't give him the time of day. She created a boundary right away because of his behavior. He claims he never saw her before they were looking at her for John's death. So, yeah. 1.8. 1.5. He is a despicable person. Yeah, he's the balloon nut of jokes. Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday, I think. $24 for a pair of undies. Well, you're way too kind. Trooper Proctor as a poor joke, relative to a subsequent text message in which Trooper Proctor texted "no nudes so far." He stated that this text was sent as he was searching Miss Reed's phone for evidence related to the crime. He said he was mostly interested in the location data from the phone and text message communication, and that his unit had been waiting for some time to be able to access her phone. As a result, Proctor felt the need to update his co-workers as to the status of the search. Again, I don't even think this would work if the one interviewing you was special needs. This is so stupid. Regarding the nudes comment, Proctor said that in his experience, it is common to come across personal information to include nude photographs when searching a cell phone. So when you are really interested in getting into someone's phone and you want to update your co-workers, your comment is not, "Hey, just got access to a phone, waiting for the download." No, it's "no nudes so far." What the heck? If this doesn't call for a unit-wide firing of anyone, because Proctor wasn't alone. Everyone who got those messages should be fired. Everyone who got those messages and never told him, hey, I'm reporting you, that's totally unbecoming of an officer to talk that way about a client of a defendant. What the hell is wrong with you? I think you need to go talk to HR. You shouldn't be looking for nudes in anyone's phone. No, they just sent lol back or just didn't reply. How someone could be saved from this because, well, I was out of town. I didn't look at my phone. 2 of his supervisors got this message. 2 of his supervisors failed to tell him, are you that stupid? Do you really think you want to waste your time, sit there and doing this shit? You can tell me when you have the location data, which you don't look for on the phone. You download that. That is where you need your gray key, your Celebrite, whatever you need. That's where you get your location data. You don't sit there and go back and forth in the phone. The only thing you could be looking for is text messages. And if you're looking at text messages, why are you in her picture album? Your story makes no sense. I'm sorry to say. Vote Meatball 2026 in office since 1977. Scott McGinnis, I think there was you who asked me, or was it Kirks who asked me what I thought about the candidates against him. I have to agree. I think there are more splitter votes than actual opponents. I have heard nothing I liked from any of them. It's too much politician, too little. I'm going to kick everyone's ass and whip that place into shape. If you watched WB Set, I think was it yesterday, who talked to the new head of the police, who said, yeah, I'm here to clean up, and then didn't answer one question other than typical political bullshit about, well, maybe, let's see, we'll look at it. Hey, PH. Thank you. The hearing will be at 2 p.m., sadly. I'm sorry. We all thought it would be at 9. Yeah, but you sent those nudes to me. You're the only one sending me nudes. Yeah. Hey, remember that time where you pushed that invalid kid in the wheelchair down the stairs? Yeah, it was a joke. Yeah, but he got really hurt. Yeah, but it was funny, though. That's how he's doing it. Well, they haven't arrived yet, is all I can say, because I can't remember. No, I never ever received a nude photo. I've only had some clothed titlet shots. That's all I've had. But I don't send things like that either, because some idiot will sit and look at your phone at some point. Trooper Proctor said that in his experience, it was common to come across personal information, including nude photos, when searching a cell phone. As it relates to this instance, Proctor said the nudes comment was an inappropriate joke and a poor update. Again, you need a punchline to a joke. Proctor stated that he never searched for any photograph of Miss Reeds. No, because you would have found the nudes in her Google Maps app or any other individual involved in this investigation. He reiterated that his focus was on location data and text message communication. Proctor said that while he was searching through Ms. Reed's text messages, he came across communications between Reed and an attorney and subsequently stopped the search of the phone altogether. Proctor stated that he was eventually verbally counseled by Brian Tolley about the content of these messages. That's fucking unbelievably no, you were not verbally chastised by Tully, because Tully needs that on your record in case in the future he will be questioned about him disciplining you for doing stuff like this. I've been in the military long enough to know that a superior always cover their ass, and I think it's kind of the same in the popo. Brian Tolley, if he had called you to his office and said, hey, you got to knock off that college frat boy humor. You have to become a police officer and act like one. He would have written a note, put it in your file. You didn't verbally. Brian Tolley probably laughed and said, if you find them, let me see them. No nudes yet is technically a joke, at least if you're not actually looking for nudes. Yeah, well, yeah. Lally won't be questioned today. So many guys reaching out asking women for titlet shots or nudes. That's a lot more men out there like Proctor, sadly. They can send you pics of their peters as an introduction. Yeah, I've never gotten that one either. Because unless you do like Zach, he has this thing where he sends them to me first to see if ladies would appreciate them. He puts little googly eyes and a top hat, just making them fancy, twirling a mustache. But who wants to see a Richard? No one. We don't even like the look of our own, so no one believes that you really want to see this meat hammer. All 2 inches. Well, maybe if I put some shadow on it, it looks bigger. Trooper Proctor then spoke to investigators about events occurring on July 19th while he was working an unresolved case with Canton PD officer Kevin Albert. Proctor stated that he picked Kevin Albert up and they both traveled to Sandwich to interview witnesses related to an unresolved case. Proctor stated that he drove in his department-issued cruiser. His cruiser is equipped with an AVL switch, which he deactivated for the day. I don't know what that is. Trooper Proctor went on to say that he is authorized to deactivate his AVL when he works assignment involves work pursuant to his investigative duties. While Proctor could not remember the time they arrived at Sandwich, he estimated he picked Kevin Albert up in Canton at approximately 5 p.m., drove directly to Sandwich. He did not remember if there were traffic delays, but estimated it took them approximately 1.5 to 2 hours. When they arrived in Sandwich, they interviewed a witness and attempted to locate another witness. Proctor said that he and Kevin Albert then stopped at a restaurant in Sandwich and had dinner. Maybe a sandwich? Trooper Proctor said that he did have approximately 1-2 beers with dinner, as every alcoholic states. He stated that both he and Kevin Albert secured their firearms inside locked containers in his cruiser. After they finished dinner, Proctor stated that he then drove Kevin Albert home to Canton, dropping him off approximately 10:45. Trooper Proctor could not recall the time he left the restaurant. He could also not recall how long it took them to return to Canton that night, but estimated based on past experience that the drive from Sandwich to Canton takes approximately 1.5 hours. Proctor stated that he was not intoxicated and does not believe Kevin Albert was. Proctor acknowledged that he did find Kevin Albert's badge in his cruiser the next day, but had no knowledge of what happened to Kevin Albert's firearm. Oh, I trust these officers with my safety. Thank you, Karma Militia, for becoming a new member. Ember. Ham sandwich buffet and beer for my horses. Oh, I like that. Oh, GPS. Yeah, of course he can switch those off so he can go drinking on the job. Yeah, dude, where did I park my gun last night? Trooper Proctor was asked if any information that did not come out at trial existed on his personal cell phone that is relevant to this investigation or could be viewed as damaging to him or the department. Proctor stated that he does not believe that any information that could be viewed as damaging to him or the department, and he also does not believe that there is any information that can be viewed as derogatory, defamatory, or offensive. Trooper Proctor was also asked if any information exists from any other source, including his work cell phone, that is relevant to this investigation, or could be viewed as blah, blah, blah. He stated he doesn't believe so. In relation to his work cell phone, Trooper Proctor acknowledged that this phone has an associated iCloud account, but he has no memory of ever accessing it and does not know what the password is for the iCloud. He did say that the current work cell phone that he has is his second work phone and that he has issued it approximately 2 years ago. Proctor went on to express to investigators how the trial and associated publicity had affected his home and family life. He described repeated harassing communication where he has received death threats and people has wished harm would come to him and his family members, to include his children, among other things. A copy of the most recent blah. The conclusion. On March, I was assigned blah, 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 blah. This is not important. Apartment was not provided. This is just the same. Same. But is it just the same? Proctor testified that he sent messages to friends whom he described as people who grew up with and who lived in different parts of the country. Proctor sent multiple text messages to his friend group that contained sensitive information about the active homicide investigation. He also sent text messages to this friend group that contained inappropriate comments about Ms. Reed's medical conditions, as well as other derogatory and defamatory statements about Ms. Reed. These texts include the name of the victim, the manner of which the victim died. I looked at his body at the hospital. He was banged up. She hit him with his car. Information about Ms. Reed. From all accounts, she didn't do anything wrong. She's a whack job cunt. C-word. Yeah, she's a babe with a weird Fall River accent, though. No ass. Nut bag, as Chief would say. She got a leaky balloon nut, leaks poo, and information related to the investigation and what police actions would be taken. They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left. Yeah, but there will be some serious charges brought on the girl. Zero chance she's skate. She's fucked. Some of these texts were sent on the same day that SPDU Norfolk initiated the investigation of the death. Pretty fast. As the investigation was in its early stages at this point, the information shared in these texts had not been released to the public at the time. Proctor sent the text messages regarding the information about investigation that he texted. Proctor told investigators that he did not provide specifics beside the name of the decedent. While he may not have provided other specific case information to the friend group, he still provided information, including the cause of Mr. O'Keefe's injuries, that had not been released publicly. The comment Proctor sent about Ms. Reed being a whack job cunt is an inappropriate derogatory comment that shows Trooper Proctor had a personal dislike of Ms. Reed. Proctor testified that his comments were partially due to his emotional getting the best of him. Police officers have to act impartially and not based on emotion. However, police officers still experience emotion based on what they're exposed to. While this is understood, it's also understood that the emotion a police officer may feel about an individual are kept in check and their actions are based on reason and fact. There is no evidence to show that Trooper Proctor's personal feelings influenced the actual evidence in the case, but the language used to describe Ms. Reed is offensive and created an appearance that he was not impartial. Proctor's comments about Ms. Reed having a weird Fall River accent, though no ass, are inappropriate as they are commentary on Ms. Reed's appearance and mannerisms. Again, these comments are offensive and created the appearance that he was not impartial. Trooper Proctor's comments, she got a leaky balloon nut and leaks poo, is commentary on Ms. Reed's medical conditions. In his interview with investigators, Proctor acknowledged that the comments were unprofessional and regrettable. Not only are these comments offensive and unprofessional, but they are also medical issues that he disclosed to a group of people who were not privy to them. That's going to be interesting because isn't that a HIPAA violation? Isn't that isn't it? I think it's a HIPAA violation. And Texas, we are reading Trooper Proctor's internal affairs investigation. Berkey had a boat called Cold Case. That's the only cold case Proctor and Albert went to in the Cape. That's why they were there so long. It is? Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Well, you're not allowed to share other people's information. Does he have permission to turn the AVL, turn off AVL? Really? I don't know. I don't work for the Canton PD, but most likely he has, because I think him and Bukaki was Morrissey's goon squad. If you ever watched, what's that movie with Russell Crowe? L.A. Confidential. Some some DAs and police chiefs will have a goon squad. That goon squad is the one who takes out and takes care of prisons business. So if someone needs a little roughing up or whatever you need to happen, so they'll understand the message, you'll have your goon squad go out there. And I am seeing how Bukaki have acted since this, seeing how they arrested Karen Reed the second time. I bet you Proctor and Bukaki was the goon squad. Those were the two you sent out when you wanted to intimidate someone to shut the hell up. I bet you if those two rolled up, that witness was going to tell a story that was very much in line with what the prosecution wanted. Have I proof of that? Absolutely none. Am I just making all of this up and just speculating, fantasizing? This is like Plevin's book, pure fantasy. But I bet you if I was writing a book about Meatball Morrissey, I would put those two ace clowns as the goon squad, because they seem to really like being the tough guys rolling up. Hey, we need to talk to you. Police aren't subject to HIPAA. Nope, but HIPAA is, he can share it with his fellow officers if it has anything to do with the case. He shared it with people outside of the police. So I think it's HIPAA. I still don't think if you have obtained medical records, you are allowed to share them. It was during her, it was in the beginning, they said during the arrest, they found out about her medical condition. Yeah, but Trooper Paul was the guy they sent out there when they just needed a friendly face who could say science and stuff. Yuri was rolling up on free can read peeps on their homes because of their social media posts, KGB style. Yeah, and I still think that the second arrest, he had a stiffy in his way too tight pants. I did wear the same t-shirt yesterday. I have to agree. But that's because I took it off when I was done, went to the gym, and then put it on again because I had a sweat shirt. I was on the treadmill because I was so angry yesterday because I got on Twitter and got called a Nazi defender. So I went to the gym and did 30 minutes on the treadmill again just to get some anger out while I was watching football. Did I see the picture of Bukaki with the glass behind the car? Yes, I covered that Sunday, I think. You can't hold a trooper to HIPAA. It's only to healthcare. There are privacy laws. Well, I still don't think you can share medical information, I think. Maybe it's not HIPAA. Thank you. Well, I have showered since. It is because chat don't send enough money. Baker cannot afford a new t-shirt. Send money. Baker should learn to grift better. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, this is my last t-shirt and I had to wear it again today. It wasn't just because I took it off and threw it on the counter and I only wore it for 2 hours yesterday. So I thought, it's going to be okay. I use it again today. Please buy my book, No Drama Llama. It's available somewhere. I can't remember where. I think I wrote a book about it, No Drama Llama. I might be wrong. Trooper Proctor also testified that he sent text messages to his sister containing sensitive information about the active homicide investigation. On the same day, they initiated their investigation on the death of John. Of the death. Proctor sent text messages to his sister that included elements of the death scene. Just found a frozen to death in front of lawn on a front lawn in Canton this morning, and information about potential witnesses. Actually, just interviewed Jen McCabe. She says she knows you. Julie and Chris were at the bar with the victim and girlfriend, got to interview them. Trooper Proctor also sent his sister a text message stating, "Don't say a word to anyone." This suggests Trooper Proctor knew he should not be providing information to her. On Feb 1, Trooper Proctor received a text message from his sister that her friend, who is also a potential witness in the investigation, wanted to get Trooper Proctor a thank you gift. Trooper Proctor responded, "Get Elizabeth one." Proctor later testified that Elizabeth is his wife. He clarified through testimony that neither he nor his wife ever asked or received a gift. Proctor further clarified that when he sent that text message, he was referring to the fact that he's been working late hours recently and his wife had been home with their children, and she was the one that deserved thanks. But you said send her a gift, so you actually asked for a gift. There has been nothing learned through this investigation that suggests Proctor, his wife, his sister, or potential witness made any request or follow-up to getting or receiving a gift. There was also nothing learned through this investigation that suggested Proctor or his wife ever had communication with the potential witness about a gift. While his text message response to his sister created the appearance that he was willing to take a gift in exchange for his service, it is reasonable to believe that this response was not an actual request to get his wife a gift. A clear refusal of the gift would remove all doubt. However, given that Trooper Proctor testified that he was referring to the fact that his wife deserved credit for being home alone because he was been working, and a lack of any follow-up to receiving a gift, it is reasonable to believe that his response was not an actual request for a gift. Additionally, there have been no allegations that Trooper Proctor's testimony was untruthful. Proctor was forthright with other testimony that he reasonably would have known exposed him to possible disciplinary action. There's no reason to believe that he would be truthful about other potentially damaging information and then be untruthful about this piece of information. Furthermore, in his interview with investigators, Proctor stated that he never believed there was a genuine offer of a gift. His response about getting a gift to his wife was made in jest. He told investigators that he never had the intent, or made any action to request or receive a gift. I find Proctor's reasoning for his response to the gift text reasonable in the context of the conversation. It is reasonable to believe that in a text conversation with a family member, not every message sent should be taken in the literal sense. The lack of any evidence of follow-up to the gift further supports that Trooper Proctor never believed this offer to be a genuine offer. The easy one was to write, "No thank you." In a different text exchange with his sister, Proctor testified that on February 4th, he sent a text message to her, "Hopefully she kills herself." Proctor clarified in his testimony that he was referring to Miss Reed and that his statement was just a figure of speech. In his interview with investigators, Proctor reiterated that it was a figure of speech and a poor choice of words. He stated that he never had any intention or want for Miss Reed to unalive herself. Regardless of whether Proctor actually wanted to unalive herself, however, this text is unprofessional and demonstrated that Trooper Proctor had no regard for Miss Reed. This text contributed to the appearance that Trooper Proctor was not impartial and harbored negative feelings towards Miss Reed. You think? Who's going to get released next, King or Walls? I don't think Walls, they got the Google searches in. So he's going to fry. I don't think there's any way he's getting out of it. King is going to be more interesting. Yeah, Bullstein. Well, you're so judgmental. Why so judgy? He should have a regular spot on Fridays at a comedy club. I don't know what the figure of speech is. I wish you would unalive yourself. Again, I don't speak English good, but I have never in Danish or English heard anyone say, "I just hope she'll unalive herself." And we all laughed and chuckled because it was just a figure of speech. No, this is a statement. I wish she would unalive herself, especially the context that's not there. I believe it's something like this would be much easier if she would just unalive herself because of the case. So the figure of speech, when it's not taken out of context, is even worse. It's a clear indication that he wants her to unalive herself. Ed Rexel, thank you so much for the contribution to the Broken Baker T-shirt fund. I'll change my T-shirt before the next stream now, because now I got T-shirts sadness. Yeah, no one says that as a figure of speech. I would hope someone would unalive themselves. It's not a figure of speech. Hello, Harmony. People joke about it usually in a self-referential way. Yeah, unalive me now. No one says, hey, you should unalive yourself. Yeah, all of this is showing a man who is way too emotional for this job. Proctor also testified that he sent a text message to his wife containing sensitive information about the active homicide investigation. After a grand jury had voted to indict Ms. Reed on charges related to the death of John O'Keefe, Trooper Proctor testified that he sent the following text message to his wife: "We are gonna lock this whack job up." This text message was sent before she was arrested, before the charges against her were released publicly. No follow-up on that one. In a text group consisting of co-workers to include two of Trooper Proctor's supervisors, Proctor testified that he sent a series of inappropriate texts concerning Ms. Reed. In response to a photo of Ms. Reed's attorney, Proctor sent a text message: "Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone." Proctor testified that the client he was referring to was Ms. Reed. This comment is unprofessional and offensive. This contributed to the appearance that Trooper Proctor was not impartial towards Ms. Reed. In a subsequent text message, Proctor sent "no nudes so far." Proctor testified that at the time he sent the text message, he was going through Ms. Reed's cell phone. He said that he meant that comment as a joke, and testified that he did not look for any nudes of Ms. Reed. Trooper Proctor reiterated in his interview with investigators that he never looked for any photographs of Ms. Reed. Proctor explained that it is common to find nude photographs on a phone that are searched, but you never looked for any photographs, so how would you find photographs, you idiot? He explained that his intention was to update his co-workers on the status of his search with Ms. Reed's cell phone. You can't be this dumb. You can't be this dumb. You just said, "I was looking at 0 photographs on Ms. Reed's phone." Then you say photographs of nudes will often show up. But if you're not looking at the photograph, you won't see any nudes. And then you say, "I had to update them." They must have known you weren't looking at the photographs. So why are you sending them a text message relating to photographs that you absolutely did not look at? How did it take him so long to get fired? No reasonable person who are reading this shit thinks this makes sense. No one. No, this has nothing to do with the hearing today. The hearing today will be 2 p.m. I'm just reading something else. So I had a stream going, then I'm going to log off, and there will be a stream later, most likely. And the hearing today will most likely just be, we still don't have evidence 20, 35, 92, 86. The rest is okay. Make sure you turn it over to them. Or the hearing will be, we now have all the evidence, Your Honor. Okay, see you that day for an interview with Proctor. I don't think there'll be much firework in the hearing today. I'm always clickbaiting. Yeah, and the nudes is the only thing. Why didn't he write, "Hey, I didn't find any incriminating text so far. Hey, I looked at the the location data. I need to get it on the Cellbrite. Hey, I'm looking through her phones. No logs so far. No nude so far. It's not a figure of speech. It's not a joke. It's just, again, you trying to pretend that the rest of the world is as stupid as you are. Baker burns the bread but still serves up drama with a side of crumbs. Yeah, and I'm busting my voice reading this. Ooh, I need a break.
When the mix is running high and you wanna catch his eye, slip a Baker thong so fine, keeps your secret on the line. Baker's thong is cheeky fun, hotter than the midday sun.
My new grift. Baker's underwear. Baker's brief. Thank you, Inspire. While he was focusing on looking for location data and text messages communication, he stated that he chose to use this inappropriate joke for the update to his coworkers, as it is known that nude photographs is commonly seen on cell phones. Absent the text "no nude so far," there has been nothing learned in this investigation that show that Trooper Paul did in fact look for the nude photographs of Miss Reed, other than him saying it. Yeah, so if you don't put any trust in his own words, you can believe him. Regardless of whether Proctor was actually looking for nude photographs of Miss Reed, this comment is unprofessional, as well as degrading of Miss Reed. In a separate text exchange with co-workers, Proctor sent a text message, "If you like women who shit themselves." This text was also sent as a comment on Miss Reed's medical issues. Again, not only was these comments offensive, humiliating, and unprofessional, but they also ridiculed a medical issue that has no bearing on the case. Proctor testified that on July 19th, he drank alcohol with Canton police officer Kevin Albert after the two of them conducted work on an unresolved case. He testified, "From what I remember, we were down the Cape working on a cold case together and stopped for dinner, had a few beers, and then dropped him off." After further questioning, Proctor testified that he was operating his department-issued cruiser at the time. Through a review of pay station records, DAJ records, and AVL data, it was confirmed that Trooper Paul was working and operating his department-issued cruiser. The timestamp from the AVL data do align with him working all day and returning home late that night. Members who are engaged in certain investigative activities can be authorized to disable their cruiser AVL capability if the recording of location data could adversely affect their assignment. An example could be to protect the identity of a witness or location of interest for an investigation. In his interview with investigators, Proctor said that he was in Sandwich to speak with potential witnesses of an unsolved homicide investigation. As such, he would have been authorized to disable his cruiser's AVL capability for a duration of time needed to facilitate this assignment. Proctor was also shown a text message he received the following day in which Kevin Albert stated he was hungover, to which Proctor replied, "Yeah, it does refresh my memory." During his interview, Proctor did acknowledge to investigators that he drank 1-2 beers. Go watch any cop video where they pull someone over for drinking. They always already had 2 beers, just 2 beers or 2 drinks or 2 shots. It's always 2 shots. Had 1-2 beers while having dinner and sandwich before returning home to Canton. He stated that he was not intoxicated. Proctor's testimony combined with the text message suggests that Kevin Albert may have been intoxicated. However, Proctor explained to investigators that the line of questioning by the defense attorney in the trial was difficult to follow on this topic. Yeah, right. Proctor stated to investigators that he did not support the notion that Proctor was intoxicated. I think you mean Albert. Department members are not allowed to consume alcohol while working. His testimony combined with his statement provided to investigators confirmed that he consumed alcohol and then operated his cruiser on July 19th. The facts learned in this investigation support that Trooper Proctor was consuming alcohol while working. At the time Proctor went to Sandwich, his scheduled shift was from 8:30 to 5. In his pay station entry and DAJ log, he reported working until 10:30. During his interview with investigators, Trooper Proctor stated that he picked Kevin Albert up at approximately 5 p.m. He stated that he estimated that it took approximately 1.5 to 2 hours to arrive in Sandwich. He stated that he and Kevin Albert conducted a lengthy interview of one witness and made efforts to locate another witness. They both then stopped for dinner. Proctor stated that they returned to Canton after dinner, arriving in Canton at approximately 10:45. He stated the trip back to Canton took approximately 1.5 hours. Members are allowed to stop and eat a meal while working a part of their duties, whether on a regular scheduled shift or overtime. It is not reasonable for a member to stop for an extended amount of time for a meal and subsequently request overtime pay. In this specific instance, when travel time and the time spent on interviews and witness tracking are considered, I find it reasonable to believe Proctor did not take an extended amount of time for dinner. The facts learned in this investigation support that Trooper Proctor did not inappropriately request overtime pay. Question: why did he plan to go to Sandwich that day when he already had a shift planned? Couldn't he have said, hey, boss, I need to go to Sandwich to talk to John Doe? It's going to be quite lengthy. It's a 3-hour drive alone, hour and a half. That's 3 hours. It's probably going to take some time. So could I have... Can I shift my day shift to an evening shift so you don't have to pay overtime? Isn't Massachusetts that state where they got into a lot of overtime scams some years ago? Isn't it wonderful how these people can get more overtime pay than they make on their regular pay? But if all you have to do is say at the end of your day shift, you say, hey, I have to go to Sandwich and talk to John Doe. I hope they saw the records for that interview, because he turned his GPS off, so we don't know where he was. Isn't that also wonderful? You can just turn your GPS off. I'm going to look at a cold case. So whenever you need a little extra, you just go to the boss and say, hey, I'm working Sandwich. And the boss says, sure. You don't think anyone would actually do that, though? Cheat and get paid overtime? Why would anyone, MSP in Canton, be working a cold case together? What cold case? Yeah. Why does Kevin Albert have to be there? And doesn't Sandwich, I don't know where anything is, because I don't live in Massachusetts and I don't have a BAC over 20, so I can't live in Massachusetts. But why is he working it with a Canton cop? Did Kevin used to be down there? Or is it a Canton crime where the witnesses moved to Sandwich? I don't know. MSP Troop E was disbanded due to overtime scandal. Yeah. The pay scale is normal that cop makes more in overtime. Yeah, but that's a big problem, because you can hide a lot of payments in overtime. I don't see why Proctor really wants to keep his gold mine of a job. Yeah. Because if you can just say, well, I'm going to go on a 3-hour road trip where we're going to have dinner and then we're going to interview some guests, and I'm getting 8 hours of overtime for that. Couldn't this have been done with a phone call to Sandwich to this witness saying, hey, can you jump on Zoom? did they need to go to Sandwich to interview this witness? To me, it smells a lot like there's a lot of stuff we can't see on the pay stub. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. A little R&R with his buddy getting drunk as F and getting paid to get drunk. Sandwich is in Cape Cod, just over the Cape Cod Canal Bridge. Sounds like a nice area. Well, it's a cold case in Sandwich, but why is Kevin Albert on it? Because he's a Canton cop. But where on the Cape are the fries? Oh, his brother has that weight loss where he only eats potato skins. Well, this is the MSP bosses who are investigating, but they also have. Let me tell you something, brother. If you have a scam running where your officers knows that you can cover a cold case if you want a little extra because, hey, the pay rate is the pay rate, but you need to make those 300,000 a year as a police officer, and your boss will always co-sign and say, yeah, you work in the cold case because, hey, who gives a fuck? It's the taxpayers who pay anyway. Then you have to keep that scam going. So the bosses have to shut up and let it go. They don't want to find any skeletons, because if you rattle his cage and his skeletons start falling out, all the skeletons is going to come out. Do you think he never ever did any of this with Bukaki, Tully, Albert? Imagine if a boss started looking into this. No, you shut up. You feed him to the wolf and hope they're not hungry anymore when they have eaten him. You haven't seen a single Earl of Sandwich joke yet. I'm severely disappointed in you all. Well, you're not back, Zach. Yeah, that's probably what they call the cold cases. Marissa, exactly. This is why I say this seems like an overtime scam. Why take a Canton cop to go to Sandwich? And why couldn't you Zoom call it? The deli in Sandwich. Huh? I don't know if they kick up, but yeah, I think I have no proof of this. I just think it's wonderful that these people are so dedicated to their job that they make such big amounts of money on overtime. It must be because they really have to work all that overtime. Why don't you just hire cops? More cops. Well, we can't get them. Stop killing them at the academy. Then you can have more. Maybe if you had a better work culture, you wouldn't lose 1/3 of your cadets like you did 2 years ago, I think it was. I saw the data that you lost 1/3 of your cadets within the first year. Maybe change the culture, and you could have cops so you didn't have to pay all that overtime. But if you don't pay all that overtime for all the old ones who's been on the ride all the way along, maybe something will come out, and you don't want anything to come out, maybe, potentially, in a book by Plevin. Additional, Proctor shared with his personal friends and family members specific information about facts of the investigation. Proctor acknowledged that these individuals are not law enforcement. As they were not law enforcement personnel, there was no reason to provide them with any information related to the case. The information provided was specific to facts of the investigation, to include the identities of the victims and potential witnesses, as well as potential police actions that would be taken. While there were nothing learned in this investigation that showed Proctor acted with intent to affect the outcome of the investigation, sharing sensitive information with individuals who are not authorized to receive it is not allowed. The facts learned in this investigation support the allegation that Proctor shared sensitive investigations with unauthorized individuals. After reviewing the testimony provided by Trooper Proctor related to the text messages about Ms. Reed that Trooper Proctor sent, as well as information he provided to investigators, and considering the ramification of his action, it is clear that Trooper Proctor's behavior was unprofessional. His actions created an image that he was not impartial in his dealings with Miss Reed. It is entirely reasonable that a police officer may have personal feelings about an individual, but a police officer must act solely on facts and reason. While there are no evidence to show that the police actions taken by Proctor was directly influenced by his personal feelings, his conduct demonstrated that he acted in an unprofessional manner that was demeaning to Miss Reed and cast the department into dispute. Recommendation. After a review of all available information contained within the report. Oh, and yes, go follow LTL Media. He put this up on the Twitch thread so everyone could enjoy it. Please go and give him a like, subscribe. His link is on top of the stream. And I don't know if I'm pointing the right way, but it's on top of the stream. Regarding the allegations that between January 29th and February 1st, Michael Proctor provided information about a homicide victim to non-law enforcement personnel, the incident is supported by sufficient evidence to prove employee misconduct. Sustained. Regarding the allegation that he provided information about potential witnesses in a homicide investigation to non-law enforcement personnel. Sustained. Provided information about potential investigative steps and police action related to the investigation. Sustained. That he sent derogatory, defamatory, and/or disparaging text messages to non-law enforcement personnel about a suspect. Sustained. Allegation that engaged in behavior to accept the reward, gift, or gratuity on account of his official services. Not sustained. Regarding the allegations that he sent derogatory, defamatory, or disparaging text messages about a suspect in a homicide. Sustained. Regarding that he looked for nude photos of a suspect. Not sustained. That he consumed alcohol while on duty. Sustained. That he sustained alcohol and operated a department-issued cruiser. Sustained. Regarding the allegation that Trooper Michael D. Proctor received overtime pay while not engaging in official duties. Exonerated. Regarding the allegation that he engaged in behavior that brought himself and the department into dispute, the incident is supported by sufficient evidence to prove employees' misconduct. Sustained. That was the internal affair investigation into Michael Proctor, showing that he was, I think the technical term, a big piece of shit. A man with a very small peen who hid his insecurities behind a pew-pew and a badge. A man who showed an absolutely insane lack of professionality in his dealing with the John O'Keefe case. A man who couldn't, shouldn't, hopefully never wouldn't own a police badge again. A man who drank on the job, a man who shared confidential information with his friends and family, and a man who seems like he's 5 years old. That's what I got out of it. Proctor is just as professional as Lally is. Well, we're not going to, this is not the last we're going to see of Proctor, because hopefully today at 2 p.m. we will find out when the hearing will be where Lally and Proctor will have to testify. I don't believe it is today. There should also be a Walsh scheduling conference today under the same judge. So what, if any, hearing it's going to be? I don't know. I don't know if my mods are here because Jemima is working, and I don't know if Marissa. But I think the hearing today will just be, did you find out about the papers? No, we didn't. Yes, we did. It's not going to be fireworks. I don't believe it's going to be fireworks today. It's just going to be an update. The next fireworks should be the next hearing, where hopefully Proctor and Lally will be testifying, but it also depends on did they find the evidence that they wanted to ask Lally and Proctor about. So I don't think it's going to be the great one today. No, Proctor did show up last week. I have from law enforcement in other states that it's incredulous the DA in Massachusetts has these house state police detective groups in same conflict of interest, it appears to anyone. Yeah, and it seems like it's a goon squad. To me, it seems like a goon squad that just goes out and fixes problem for the DA. Can't wait to see Rosemary today. I sadly don't believe you'll get much Rosemary. It'll most likely be Judge Krupp asking because as I can read it, Marissa and Jemima has been on the docket, and there's both a Miles King and a Brian Walsh hearing scheduled with Krupp today. So I think it'll most likely just be like a status update that, okay, you got the papers? Yes, we did. Okay, do we need to have the witnesses here? Yes, no. That's all we're going to get. We're not going to get the full fireworks. IA gave him every benefit of the doubt, accepted his explanation for everything, and didn't investigate anything further than what was the public's court testimony. No, because they just wanted him out of there and don't want it to rattle the cage too much. I think these cops going to Sandwich are developmentally challenged, obviously, because they are inbred. See, Trooper Proctor, this is a joke. It's a bad joke. It's not a funny joke, but it's a joke because it has a setup and a punchline. Thank you, Zach, for proving men are not funny. Yeah, it's just going to be housekeeping. It's just going to be, did you sit down? Did you go over all the evidence? So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be firework. Maybe I'd even say, hey, I've done my streaming today. All of you should go to the Young Turks or wherever you want, watch it. I don't know. I accidentally smirked. No, I just had I had like a acid reflex to your joke. Zach is a cleaver. But everyone, we'll see what happens at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for spending your morning with me and listening to Zach's bad jokes. I think you're all nutbags. Ladies, you know what I mean.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody has.